By now, anyone who started a new diet January 1st using unsustainable ways is probably starting to fail and feeling really bad about themselves and thinking either of giving up completely and never doing it again, or of jumping into another unsustainable diet. So I want to make this video and share with you the truth about why I put my life at risk and stayed morbidly obese as long as I did. And I also want to share the real reason of why I kept failing on diets all the time. Before I go into those things, quickly for anyone who's new, I struggled with weight most of my life, and I developed a serious struggle with emotional eating when I was 10 years old. I was trying to cope with a very traumatic childhood, and I turned to food. That caused me to gain a lot of weight. And as I got older, I gained more and more weight. And then I met Kyle, my husband, in my early 20s, and he also struggled with his weight and emotional eating. And so together we got even deeper into that struggle and gained more and more weight together until we both hit our heaviest weights. We were morbidly obese. We were trying to lose weight, but we kept failing. At my heaviest, I was 275 pounds and Kyle was 375 pounds. Our weight was causing us serious health problems to the point where every day that we stayed at those weights, our life was at risk. We both had hip, knee, back problems. I had plantar fasciitis so bad in my left heel, I could barely walk, and I was in pain with it all the time. I also had sleep apnea so bad that I stopped breathing 7 times a night and partially stopped breathing 84 times a night. We kept failing, trying to lose weight and failing, and then Kyle got his type 2 diabetes diagnosis. And we had to have a serious talk with each other and say, okay, if we wanna be here, we gotta figure out why we keep failing at losing weight and make some changes. Because if we don't, one or both of us is not gonna wake up very soon. And we realized that the reason we kept failing is because we were putting the blame on the wrong thing. And what we were doing was we were blaming the food for causing us to gain the weight. Yes, we were eating a lot of food, which was putting us in a surplus and causing us to gain weight. But what we would do then is try to lose weight by removing all the things that we thought were the problem, like carbs, sugar, treats. But all that did was cause us to eat more of what we took away. And so it just went in this never-ending cycle. And that's why we kept staying morbidly obese and we kept failing on the diets, was because we were then blaming the food. What we didn't see and what we had to look at was the real reason, which was underneath the food, and that was guilt. Guilt about not accepting who we are, guilt about that we liked food, that we liked the foods that were labeled bad and unhealthy to eat, that we ate a lot. We both have very big appetites, and we could both out-eat most people. And throughout our life, we often got judged for that by people around us. And what we did, we were always hungry. We never felt full. We could eat and eat and eat and still, eat more. And instead of just accepting that, we took the judgment on, like we internalized it, and it caused guilt to grow and grow and grow. And then it caused us to self-sabotage and to self-punish and try to do all these unsustainable things and not deal with not accepting ourselves for who we were. So once we realized that that was the issue, like if we had just accepted that and let the judgment slide off of our shoulders and accepted, like, okay, we have big appetites, and try to work with that, we could have saved ourselves years of self-punishment, and making weight loss a punishment and blaming the wrong things, but we didn't. So once we realized, we said, okay, who are we? Let's look at that and start to accept it. Both of us have big appetites. We have bodies that gain weight very easily, but we're always hungry and we like to eat. We also like food. We enjoy eating. Once we saw that, we started to work on the guilt underneath it and tried to work on accepting it and accepting we don't have perfect bodies. We're never going to be perfect six-pack, perfect-bodied people who, eat perfect amounts of food all the time. We like food. We like food that people label healthy and unhealthy sometimes. Sometimes we like healthy food. We love to eat. We started working on the guilt underneath that and accepting that that's who we were. Once we knew who we were, we said, okay, how do we work with this? And we started to make some changes. But instead of changing what we were eating, because that never worked, we just changed how much. Because to lose weight, the only rule is you have to be in a calorie deficit, so you have to eat less. So we started choosing foods that we liked and portioning them out, which helped us stick to what we were doing because we were liking our food. Then we decided to choose exercise that we liked, but also that we could physically do. Because at our size, we could barely move. Physically, we couldn't do very much. Not even basic activities like getting up and down from a chair or bending down to tie our shoes. That was all very difficult at our size and weight. But we could walk a little bit. So we decided, let's walk for 15 minutes every day and take breaks and stop as we need to, but every day do 15 minutes and combine that with the portion control. And we started to get some results. And so we realized, okay, this we can actually stick to because we like what we're eating. We can actually do the walking a little bit. We are taking breaks, but we're getting it done. And then we realized another thing. There's no such thing as motivation. Any time in the past that we weren't motivated, we were doing things that we didn't like, and it was causing us to not want to do it. Exercise that was too hard, making ourselves eat plain, boring foods or foods we didn't like, taking away foods we liked. Of course, we would lack motivation because we didn't like what we were doing. Once we did the portion control and the walking, we liked it and we didn't need the motivation because we were doing something we could stick to that didn't feel like dieting. But we still knew weight loss isn't linear. It has ups and downs. You're gonna make mistakes. There are gonna be days where even though we liked walking and we liked eating in portion control foods we liked, there were days my heel was in pain and I didn't wanna go walk. I didn't always want to eat in portion or, my heel was too painful for me to walk. But we said, if we want to be here, we have to set some non-negotiables. Things that no matter what, even if you don't feel like it or if it's a little bit hard, we have to do. And so the non-negotiables were 15 minutes of walking at a slow pace, whatever you could do every day, rain or shine, no matter what, you're getting out there and you're doing the 15 minutes. The next non-negotiable was be consistent with portion control. Every day, use the backs of packages, measuring cups and spoons, use the serving sizes as the guides on the packages, measure out your food, and be as consistent with it as you can. Do not break those two rules. That's what you got to do in order to try to lose the weight and save your life. And those were the non-negotiables. And we made a pact with each other and we stuck to it. No, it wasn't always easy, but we accepted who we were and we tried to work within it. Knowing that we get hungry a lot, we tried to add a lot of protein because protein helps lower your hunger hormone, ghrelin. We also found low calorie, high volume foods and snacks that we could eat so that we felt like we were getting a lot of food, but the low calories were helping us stay in a calorie deficit. Like popcorn was one of our favorite snacks because you can season it however you like and you can eat a lot of it. And so we went from there. We started making low calorie versions of all our favorite foods so that we felt like we weren't being deprived. And then it started to really work for us. And we were both able to lose 130 pounds, save our lives, and keep it off for 9 years. And the thing with going back to the judgment is that when we internalized the judgment that we were getting from food, like we took it on as we were bad. And that was one thing we had to learn, like, no, you're not bad because you like food or because you have a big appetite, and we started to work through that as well. And then we also had to realize people are always going to judge you, because Kyle brought up this point, like we were judged long, like before we were on YouTube, but like when we were overweight or when we were just starting to be old enough to like pick our food, we were always judged for our food. I was always told I ate like crap, you don't eat right, always, oh, you eat too much, you should eat this, don't eat that, my whole life. Then when we lost the weight, we thought maybe like the judgment would stop. It sometimes feels like we get judged even more for what we eat now. It's just that because we've accepted who we are and we know that we have to do what works for us, our bodies and our minds, so that we can continue to keep the weight off, because that saved our lives, keeping the weight off and doing what works for us.
The food police are always going to have a problem with what you eat.
Yeah. And so if you're somebody like us, you're watching this and you are struggling and you realize now after watching this video, you might have guilt underlying the reason why you keep failing too, you can free yourselves. Kyle and I freed ourselves from that guilt and were able to have sustainable weight loss because we accepted who we were and what worked for our body and for the way that our head thinks, and we learned to work with it. And so if you learn what you need, do you have a big appetite? Do you need low cal, high volume foods all the time? What do you need? What do you like that works for you? Who are you? What kind of, diet or meal plan do you need, and exercise do you need that will work for you?
You got to kind of take, me and Nicole try now to take audits of ourselves, because in this place where we are now in the world, it's very extreme. So people are labeled a bad person or like a hero. Those don't exist in this place. So it can actually like backfire on us, and like both of us, it has backfired before to think we're all stars.
Yeah.
To take on too much. So yes, before it was guilt and shame, beating ourselves up about things, but we've also gotten in that crazy, like, I'm going to change my life around in one day. January 1st, I'm going to be a different person, a different eater. There's going to be no more sugar, salt, fat, carbs, or whatever, right? So you can also sabotage yourself the so-called positive way too.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Bubba. And that's the thing, like, we learned small, sustainable changes, one small change at a time, so that you can learn to get used to it and be consistent with it. And then you can build on and build more changes as you go. It's slow and steady wins the race. Doing too much, thinking that you're an all-star, or putting yourself down and punishing yourself, neither of those worked for us. And, people that are struggling, look at that, see what's going on, what will work for you, what's not, and take it one thing at a time. And you will make mistakes, and it's not going to always be easy, but you got to believe that you're worth it enough to start working on the underlying piece. What is under the food? Why? Like, yes, we were overeating, and that was causing us to be overweight. But why were we overeating? Why did we need the food? And we had to look underneath.
Why did we keep the weight on ourselves for most of our lives?
Yeah.
Until the last about 10 years.
Yeah, we were hiding. We didn't want to we were using the weight as like a costume. We didn't want to look at who we really are and face the judgment anyway from others, because like we knew we needed to accept that about ourselves, but we were worried about what other people were thinking.
And that not just about your food choices or your weight, but this goes across the board. You're never not going to get yelled at.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have a problem with what you're doing and who you are. And especially now with social media, it's even worse. So especially if you have a problem like with eating and getting the emotional eating under control, I would limit my time on social media.
Yeah.
Because we only had the magazines back in the 90s and we didn't have social media. But it's still, we were bombarded. So I can't even imagine nowadays.
Well, and you made the point, like when we talked about doing this video, Kyle made the point, and you just reminded me now to say this because we said remind each other. We didn't have social media. When you go on social media, most people put out these perfect diets in picture form all over. So it's like, if you're somebody like us, like obviously if you look at our videos, like you see, we eat like normal people. We shop at Walmart and Costco and we buy just normal groceries, and we show you that. We show you what we eat, and we're honest when we show you what we're eating, we're actually eating that. But a lot of people will post on social media these perfect diets, and then people go and look at it and they try to mimic that, and they feel bad when they can't make these perfectly organic, grass-fed, can't afford it or can't do it or don't like it. And they feel bad and shame and guilt because they can't meet these perfect diets online that people are showing that they're eating. Most people are not being true. They might not eat like that ever, or they might only eat like that once in a while.
Most people, if you don't know, are posting their highlight reel of their life or their plate of food. So that's like the cleanest, healthiest food they ate in a month, and that's what they show you. That's the only thing they show you.
Yes. And for us, the healthy thing for us was to get the weight off, because the weight was causing us the health problems that was putting our lives on the line. So for us, we had to figure out, what do we like? What do we want to eat? What are we going to stick to? Because our lives depended on it. So find you. What works for you? Not anyone else. Doesn't matter if it's not going to look perfect on social media or people are going to judge you, because they are going to do it anyway. Find you, look at the guilt if you have that underneath, and start freeing yourself from that. Look at it, accept who you are, believe that you're worth it to do that, and don't worry about what other people think.
Like if I want a lot of likes on Facebook, I'm not going to post, I ate Kraft dinner and hot dogs last night.
No.
That won't get a lot of attention. You'll get probably yelled at for eating processed whatever, but
like we do.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But we do eat Kraft dinner and hot dogs sometimes. But on social media, you're only allowed to post organic, grass-fed food. So
yeah, and so then people only post that because they're afraid of, if they post what they're actually eating, that they might get a lot of judgment. And the thing is, you will get judged for what you eat. You're going to get judged for everything, because that's what this world is. People judge each other. They might not even realize it, and that's okay. You just need to learn to operate within it from you, from who you are. So that's it, the friends. Accept who you are and work with that. Work from there with what will work for you in terms of weight loss or anything else in your life. Never make weight loss a punishment. You have to love it. You have to wake up excited every day like Kyle and I. And because if you're not having fun, you're not getting it done. I always say that. If you don't like it, you won't stick to it. But also, it does go deeper than that. You can get your food and exercise down, but you still have to look underneath. Why do you eat sometimes if you're someone like us who struggle with emotional eating? Look at why you eat when you're not hungry. What's underneath there? Look under there, work with what you like to eat and what you like to do for exercise, and it'll make it a lot easier to be able to stick to what you're doing instead of trying to do the January 1st diets over and over again for the rest of your life. If you want to know the exact meals and portions that I ate to lose the weight, you can buy my weight loss ebook. It's called the First 50. The link's down below, and code Nicole will save you 10%. And speaking like of protein that really helps you like feel fuller longer, this is Huddle HTLT Steps. They literally have the best tasting protein, and Lucky or Marshmallow cereal is my absolute favorite because I love cereal. I could eat it every single day, bowls and bowls. So this helps with my cravings. Code Nicole will save you 10%, and the link is down below. The friends, wake up, love it, do this every day. Yes, I love my food. Yes, I love my exercise. Yes, and I don't care what other people think. Watch this vid and this vid for more fun, sustainable weight loss tips, and also more honest truth videos like this, because Sass and I are real friends losing weight in the real world, and we share everything with you. Ups, downs, things that work for us, that help us stick to it. Anything that we know, we learn, we share with you here. Thank you so much for your support. We love you, the friends. You can do this. You got this. We love you. We believe in you. Peace it. Peace it. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya. Remember, the friends, that weight loss isn't just about the number on the scale. It's also about here and here. Heart and mindset. Fight through it. You can do it. Don't give up.